I'm excited to introduce this discussion that's going to happen with Harvest Horizons, Community Resilience and Food Security for Crestone, and potentially beyond. We are going to be listening to David Hill, Brian Pike, Melody Taylor, and Buddy Frank. They have decades of combined experience in agriculture, food systems, high altitude farming, and nonprofit leadership, and are looking to create regenerative farming practices, food storage systems, and seed preservation strategies here in this community. So I want to pass it on to Buddy to start, and they're going to talk for 30 or 40 minutes, and then there'll be time for questions at the end. So thanks.
Thanks, Jay. First, I'd like to thank all the Energy Fair coordinators and sponsors and vendors. Everybody's done a great job, and this place is amazing once again this year. So thank you, everybody who's put the efforts into this big project to make this thing happen. And speaking of big projects, Harvest Horizons. Harvest Horizons is the name of a project that we've started. It is a food security project to create community resilience. This food security project has been bandied about for as long as I've been here. I've been here since 2000, and so for 25 years I've heard various ideas of community resilience and various attempts at trying to create community resilience. And I can say that what I've seen over the years, I've seen our community become more resilient. We've created various systems that you can look around and see. We kind of take them for granted now that, we've got a park here in Crestone. We've got two amazing grocery stores. We've got a bank, a post office. We've got a school. We've got this elder housing community. We've got so many things going for us. And yet, there still remains this odd thing that is kind of a deficiency in our reality here, and it's food security. And there's a reason why we haven't had this come around, and it's because this is a very complex project. So I just want to introduce everybody here. I'm Buddy Frank, Melody Taylor, Brian Pike, David Hill, and we're all the principals for Harvest Horizon. We're the founders of this project. And the idea behind it came to me when I was working later, 2017, 2018, 19. I started seeing there's challenges in our food supply. There's some things going on that I could see the horizon wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be for our food. And some information I got was, well, why don't you gather families, 8, 10, 20 families together and buy some land, hire a farm manager, and grow your own food. And that way you have a good food supply. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea. I think I'm going to stick with that. But the more I thought about that, it just rang hollow because in the end, what good is it if me and 10, 20 families, we're all sitting fat and everybody else is struggling? That doesn't work. And when I saw what's necessary is that the community as a whole survives as a whole. The community doesn't survive if a few people over here survive and a few people over there survive. Everybody's got to factor into the survival of our community. So, and what does that mean, survival of the community? Well, there's all sorts of things that we can all see happening in our world. Our world's become much more chaotic of late. Creates instability in systems. Those instability in systems, well, we've seen what supply chain interruptions look like. So, what does that mean? How do we work with that? How do we deal with breaks in our supply chains? We've all thought, what happens when the trucks stop coming down the T road? I think everybody's had that idea like, I don't want to think about that anymore, Len. And you just kind of like blow it off. You think about it, it's too big and overwhelming of an idea, so you just say, I'm not going to think about that one. Hope somebody figures that out for us. And that's actually what Harvest Horizons is trying to do, is trying to figure out this. So I was having some discussions with Hannah Strong back in 23, and she kind of reminded me of the prophecy, the Hopi prophecy, and there was some kind of apocalyptic visions that were part of the Hopi prophecy. And a piece of her vision triangulated with these other ideas that I was bringing in. So, challenges of digital control systems, challenges of potential earth challenges, cataclysms, challenges of just climate changing. We just heard from the previous presenters about how climate used to be here. There used to be very wet areas, and now it's very dry. So we've seen just in 40, 50 years how transformed just our areas are. So all of these ideas, if you think about them, they all kind of come together in kind of a Venn diagram, like where do they all intersect? And they all intersect in the same place of food. There's a problem with our food. It's the basic security that we have as community. So what do we do about that? Now the challenge is everybody's like, well, I grow my own food. I already have some food stored. I'm not worried about all that stuff. And again, that sounds good, and it's awesome. Everybody should grow their own food. Everybody should have a garden. We should have some food stored. It should be basic preparations in our lives that we think like this. And how does the community as a whole move forward with these ideas? Because it's great that I have a garden and I'll survive, but I won't survive. If there's ever a problem, we can't survive on our own. We survive through community, period. So Hannah had a vision that she said, we need to have a system in place that can feed 2,500 people. And it's like, wow, 2,500 people. We don't even have 2,500 people. But the idea is if there's real problems, well, there'll be a shakeup in Crestone. A lot of people will leave, but a lot of people will pour in here. I think we are the bug out place in most people's minds when they think, I got to get out of the city. And where are they going to come? They're going to come here. So we have to anticipate a lot of people showing up. And then what's going to happen? That's going to overwhelm any kind of systems that we thought we were making headway with. So that's a great idea. We need to have something in place for 2,500 people. But here's the challenge. To have food storage and food growing capacity for 2,500 people ready and available, and then it sits idly? You can't have these kind of systems like desired and actually implemented and then just have them sit. That's not our world. That's not a reality we all live in. If we create these things, the only way to make these things work is to create them as a business. And that has been the big challenge of trying to make this food security system. And I think that's what's actually hindered this progress of this idea for the last decades, couple of decades that anybody's thinking about this stuff. Because it's really hard to envision how to create a business that's self-sustaining that can build out a system that could feed 2,500 people. Because we're not going to create a system right off the bat that feeds that. We're going to do a small scale, small to medium scale, and then have capacity to grow, because that's how these things work. This is reality we have to work with. And so in our focus on reality and creating businesses, then how is Harvest Horizons going to work? And this is what a group of us here have spent the last 18 months trying to work on this. We've met every month, once or twice a month, really trying to hammer out ideas and figure out the nuts and bolts of how to bring this to fruition. And we think we've done an admirable job of getting something to a place where we can now present it to everybody. And that's what we're doing here. We're now at a point where we're ready to move forward, ready to fundraise for this and get moving. We've got all the ideas in place. And of course, we're open to more ideas. We don't think that we've got all the solutions or everything figured out, but we've got a lot of stuff thought through. So we want to describe that to you today, and a quick overview of just what we've thought through so far. So part of our project is food storage, and that will be the initial kind of piece that we create. And in creating the food storage, we're also going to create a seed propagation business. So that'll start off how we start moving forward. That'll be the business aspect. We're also going to create value-added products. So we're going to have a commercial kitchen where we'll be able to produce things and sell, not at retail, but through wholesale to other distributors. And then eventually, through that seed propagation, we'll be able to move towards food propagation and then food production. So that's how we're envisioning our project so far. And to talk about all that, I'm going to leave the mic to David, and then Brian, and then Melody. And we'll all have some discussion about this, and then we're going to leave some time at the end for questions and answers. Okay? So thanks for being here, and we'll move on.
So greetings, everybody. This is a real pleasure to be here today and share what we've been working on. I'm also grateful, as Buddy said, for all the stellar organization with Crestone Energy Fair, and they're welcoming us to present our project. And so there's a lot of people here that I recognize. There's people I don't recognize, and I welcome you too. My background is in agriculture, agribusiness and agriculture, and I've worked 40 years in different aspects, a lot of different aspects of agriculture, from merchandising to processing to manufacturing to with logistical experience. And so what we wanted to do is really figure out how all the four of us each brings something different to this project that's the strength of our life experience and who we are. And what I'm at the stage in my life, I'd like to share what I've learned through my varied experience, and there's no better place to do it than our own community. This is where it all starts. And the community really is where I feel, and we all do, it's where it's at right now. We can get our arms around, collectively get our arms around a project like this and work together. There's something in this for everyone that would like to get involved. And to that point, Melody will talk about that too. Once we get down towards the end here, we have a sign-up page at our booth on how to get involved. But what we want to do, we're at the stage now, as Buddy said, we've been really distilling this for a year and a half and taking careful steps and trying to maintain the cohesive energy around it, because it is a large undertaking. But as he also said, we recognize that in order to have fairly urgent food security, that's going to require storage. And so at this point, we're looking for land. We've had some very generous funding to get us up to this point. Most of us, a lot of us, have contributed our time and energy, to get to bring it to this point. But we're really ready to take this and begin the project. So we're looking for land. We're looking for land with the water right. We want to own our own land. And what we'll do with that, once we identify that, is fairly immediately put it into a land trust. So this is a project beyond the four of us. It's a project that is for next generations. And so we'll secure the land and we'll prevent it from being developed or lost in succession of a generation change. Once we have that land, Brian will immediately start to build soil. We'll do our own food production. We're working out the systems for that, but we want to do that in a way that's smaller greenhouses, not a large greenhouse. It's trying to accommodate all the different aspects that are required to raise different foods. but we'll have distributed smaller greenhouses that are tailored for each particular thing we want to raise. But in the meantime, we're going to start working with, we'll start building the facility, and we want to design it in such a way, as Buddy said, to start small, but build it in a way that's thoughtful, that we can scale up as we have the demand and need to do that. And so that will be our first step, and we'll actually we'll have 3 modules. We'll have the storage module, and what we want to do there is work with existing farmers in the San Luis Valley and bring in a handful, half a dozen, whatever it makes sense. Our goal is really to emphasize nutritional density of the foods that we store. And so we'll work with existing farmers that have already worked out their systems over generations and be able to procure that food and get it in storage in a safe place. And then beyond that, simultaneously, depending upon funding, we're happy to receive total funding at one time. But what we want to do is build this commercial kitchen. And we'll have the commercial kitchen be certified, and it will be the place that we can take the foodstuffs that have been in storage, and when they cycle out and they're ready to be consumed, we'll add value to them. Part of my life skills, too, have been a number of value-added projects. So, and kitchens and food science or food safety and compliance is all part of our experience too. Melody's had that as well, Brian. So we'll also supplement that inbound flow of foodstuffs with seasonal foods, but we're going to intend to add a second level of preservation, which will be based on processing those foods and canning them, dehydrating them, fermenting them, grinding them, sprouting them, ways to take them and immediately then have something that we would market, as Buddy said too, on a wholesale basis. We don't want to compete with retailers. We want to complement each other. We want to do things in a complementary way in everything that we do without competition. There's room for everybody that's interested to be involved. There's the other groups, there's wonderful groups doing things that have their own mission, specific mission, skill sets, and experience that are wonderful, and we can all do that in a collective way. Regenerative actions and systems are collaborative, and that's certainly a basis for us. So once we have this facility up and built, we'll have production systems coming online, and we'll also then work more towards regenerative ag and food and systems education, which is our next step. And that'll be certainly evolving over time, but we want to share our wisdom with people in the community that want to know. We want to support small distributed greenhouses that are in the community that are already existing. We want to help each other in any way we can. And so at this point, we're really focused on finding a location. We're hopeful for that to happen pretty quickly and get going, because with the seasons, if we can secure land and really start construction after we have a really good design that's a scalable building and makes sense in terms of material flows, we could get that framed over the winter. But we're all feeling an urgency about this, and I think that the community is ready for it. As Buddy said too, we all understand what's going on externally right now, and we want to stay very positive. One thing I want to say about this group that I've been involved with is that I always feel better after our meetings than when I went into them, because we've worked out a way of communicating with each other that is real, and we listen, and we think about it. If we get to a decision point, we stop and we pay attention. And we've done that from the beginning, and each one of us offers that to the group for the rest of us. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited that now is the time. And so I think with that, we'll answer questions too after the presentation, but I'll hand it off to Brian Pike now to go a little deeper into his role.
Thanks, David. Hello, thanks for coming. My name is Brian. I've been in the Crestone community since 2005, and I've been very passionate about agriculture my whole life and done a lot to work towards food production and agricultural systems. I ran a company here called High Ground Gardens, vegetable seeds, and I did that for about 10 years, marketing that project, and I just recently stopped marketing that project and decided I wanted to do something more with the project and make it be more community-based. And I got invited into this startup project, and it's kind of unfolded that my seed company is going to come alive again through this project, and we're going to make the seed available. I currently have a pretty large seed bank from all my work over the years of acclimating seeds to this environment. So that's one aspect of the project that we're going to be working on. We're looking, David alluded to food production systems, and we're going to work towards that when we get the facility and the land to do that. But production is not going to be our main focus. Our main focus is going to be modeling systems and using the modeled systems as educational pieces to bring awareness to proper technique and how to do things and how to work in this extreme environment, and use it as an educational opportunity and work in concert with other groups and the schools and stuff. And there's a lot of things that are going to go into the development of the systems. Soil building is where most gardening starts up here because of our poor soil qualities, and we're going to start with that and build out soil and infrastructure to support production and the production of seed crops and food crops, and eventually the seed crops will be the food crops. And at some point in the near future, we will start marketing the seeds again. But that's going to take a minute while we get everything up and running and develop our systems. There's going to be composting will be a big part of it, and we hope to be able to help with community composting systems to help with wilderness interface with the animals and the issues that come with that, and to help keep compostable foodstuff out of the waste stream and start developing soil that way. And I'm drawing a blank here. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous up here. Okay. Okay. So my role with Harvest Horizons is going to be production and operations. That's kind of my background in agriculture and building. I've had some experience locally with some fairly large market garden projects that were successful in food production, and that's actually how I found the utility of adapting seed to altitude, was through doing market grow outs of food and seeing that the seed that I would purchase from seed houses nationally in comparison to seed that I had grown here, there was a big difference. So I started following that, and I started producing the seed for the productions, and that's what led into me hosting the seed company. It also came out of my involvement with the seed exchange, and that the through doing the seed exchange and seeing how utilitarian the seed was and how important it was to the local community and making it available, it kind of led me to having the seed company High Ground Gardens and marketing that locally through retail seed racks and maintaining a website. I did that for about 10 years, and the last 3 to 5 years I did that pretty much as a solo operator, and I got pretty tired maintaining all the aspects of production, marketing, distribution, track and trace. I held a seedsman's license with the Colorado Department of Agriculture the whole time. And in the course of doing all that, I've developed a altitude adapted seed bank that I'm looking to share now with the community through this project, and to also share my gained experience with growing at altitude and the systems and everything it takes to produce in this extreme environment towards that end of producing food and seed. I'm blank. Thank you.
Keep going. Did you talk about education and distribution yet?
A little bit. You know, the modeled systems that we're talking about setting up are really going to be to model techniques and proper use of resources such as water and soil, and it goes hand in hand with education. Distribution is a whole nother piece. As David said, we don't really want to compete with anybody. We want to collaborate on every level with everybody that's doing similar projects in the community and find more space to collaborate. I'm sorry, I'm a little blank. Oh, my time's almost up. Well, at least I can help everybody to laugh a little bit. So, but this is a serious project, and we feel really strongly about this. We put a lot of energy into getting to this point, and as David said, we're currently seeking a land base with a water right, where we would like to do a conservation land trust to put an agricultural resource for the community into perpetuity that will be here after we're gone. So, and I'm going to hand it off now to Melody. Just a little bit early, but.
Brian, thank you, and thank you, David. I just want to say one thing for Brian here. If you guys ever ate at the Yak and Cracker, remember the Yak and Cracker? Yeah, remember that? So Brian grew all that food that you ate from there, okay? So he might not be the best speaker on the stage, but it doesn't matter because he grows the food, and he's the guy who you want to grow the food. You want me to stand here and speak. You don't want me to grow your food, okay? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, thank you. But he's the man, okay? Just so you know. And in fact, this group of us, we've all have proven successes in previous projects. And so this is why we got together as a group, and why our group is going to be, why this project can be successful, is because we have had past successes, all of us. So this is a group of folks not who have failed in the past. We've all succeeded in the past, and so we're taking all that success and all the lessons learned and all the things we know how to do now, and we're all kind of putting it into this one project. So that's why we feel like we have the right kind of management team here to make this actually come to fruition and be a reality for us.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. I'm going to put my glasses on so I could read my own writing. So, my name is Melody Taylor, and I am a co-founder and secretary in Harvest Horizons. And my position really stands within this group covering resilience, stewardship, and empowerment. And I just want to take a moment to kind of go over my skill sets that I have to bring to Harvest Horizons to in our community. I have a diverse background in human resources, a little over 40 years, and also in program management, retail management, with 30 years in grocery management, which covers working with the vendors and the farmers and logistic pieces, covering a lot of food safety, OSHA, all of those aspects that we'll be looking into in regards to our kitchen areas too. I also have fundraising experience in social media and grant writing that I've done for many, many companies. And this will really come into play for Harvest Horizons and our community to move forward. I value and focus on a heart-centered approach with recruitment, organizational development, and training. And my main priority is to cultivate environments, individuals, organizations, and communities to flourish. And this will play too, because as Harvest Horizons grows, well, we're going to have jobs in the future. So it's going to be jobs for our community too. And I just kind of want to end my experience real quick that I believe when one seed grows and flourishes, it lays down the foundation for all to grow and flourish together, creating a beautiful garden for all. And I kind of, I'm the closer to kind of wrap all of this up for Harvest Horizons and piece it all together and where we can all go together as a community now that the formalities are kind of done. And I just want to ask all of you right now to really go into your hearts. And as the time for us draws near with all of you, that we really, again, appreciate you being here and sharing the final details about Harvest Horizons. So get ready to go on a beautiful ride with us, I hope, here, wrapping it all up, because I want to ask, again, all of you to go into your hearts. And because I'm going to go over some truths, some more facts about our group, and then to go back into our hearts and hopefully get commitment from the community for all of us. So at our core, Harvest Horizons invites a promising future by being rooted in resilience, not fear, not doubt, offering a solution to all. Our community, our value, and beyond is a model for growing together, because that's what it takes. We have spoken about many solutions in the past half an hour with all of you. Building our future together as a cohesive unit with a step at a time model. Building our house together. As there is no I in community, it is meant for all. It is about coming together as a unit, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to speak our voices, knowing we will be heard with kindness, understanding, compassion, and laying down our foundation together. It is above all about learning how to communicate again and how valuable it is to listen first, letting go of our egos, opinions, perceptions, based off of what we know as individuals, depending on our experiences. Learning how to fully listen to be able to learn and grow from others in our community with respect, knowing within the heart how important we all are, and most of all, learning how to agree to disagree. There have been many projects, as Buddy brought up in the past, that have laid down the foundations of what Harvest Horizons is lighting the torch once again with a new perspective and a plan for today's needs. And I thank you all for being the pillars of the new fire. Harvest Horizons would not be here without you all. You have all, in this project, have ignited our hearts within this group and helping the community. My gratitude goes out to all of those organizations, no matter how big or small. And we look forward, as Harvest Rises comes full circle, to partnering with you all and collaborating with you all. And this just isn't just organizations, it's individual people within this community too that have driven so many aspects to bring us to this final moment right here. I just want to, continue with this, that it really takes all of us to collaborate together to address the current needs. It takes a village. And when one can't fulfill, the other needs to step up and fill it. Building that bridge work for all and the diversity needed for all, breaking down all walls between us. For if we stand as one, we are strong. Divided we will fall, lacking the connection to one another and all things. We need one another. We need all of you. I can't express that enough. As we are the one, the all, and the all-in-one in all things. I say to you again, we need you to manifest Harvest Horizons. This needs to be from each and every one of us in this community. Harvest Horizons is just one solution for this community's needs. We offer ourselves as a solution to be able to lay a path for tomorrow for all of us. I think about laying down paths for ourselves, our children, and their children's future. I am a mother of two. I think about that all the time and what will be given to them and how we need to move forward. I want to ask all of you to take a moment and look at the person next to you. Acknowledge them, accept them, shake their hands. As part of this community, extending yourself and know in your heart that that very hand will be extended back out to you someday. We need at our very core to look deeply within ourselves and ask, how many tomorrows lay before us before taking the torch just to do the right thing? No matter what your viewpoints are. To take that call to be proactive instead of reactive and be part of something much greater than ourselves. Ego, fear, and doubt will always be humankind's mortal enemy and driving needed change. I say to you, lay down, put it aside to take a moment to learn from the past by accepting it, understanding it, and embrace it. Allow that to happen and let it go, to be in this very moment now, hearing our call. Harvest Horizons call to then build a better future. That is the process, that is moving beyond our limitations, setting ourselves free. I want you to take a moment to imagine a world, just for a moment, where every child born would be born and raised with the purpose to take care of one another and this world we live upon. Just imagine how all our priorities would change, resetting everything we value and hold dear at this very moment, tearing back the hands of time, and resetting our hearts in how we value one another, how we value this world, Mother Earth, that has provided us endless giving as we continue to take more. Sorry. How we value Mother Earth and this land. This land is crying out. And it can say it cannot take anymore. Where I ask all of you is the self-accountability in all of us. We must give back to the lands to give back to our very selves. I say again, to join us, Harvest Horizon, to learn what it means with sustainable farming, being part of this as just one aspect. We need you. There is a place for all in Harvest Horizons community. Please check out our membership plans on harvesthorizons.org. No matter how big or small, be a part of making a difference by donating your time, your skills, your land, or funds. Every person has something to give. Children can learn to help with gardens. Seniors can give their wisdom and techniques forgotten. If you are a teacher and want to know or about agriculture, be part of this project. If you have construction skills or electrician skills, be part of our team. The needs are unlimited, as everyone has a place and will be part of this as we stand as one. I want to add again, as Harvest Horizons grow, we will also be adding positions to our team, making job opportunities for our community. Again, we need you. In closing, I cannot express enough that all that has been said comes from the heart. We stand before you as vulnerable as possible, asking you to allow Harvest Horizons to be a solution for our community and to join us in building our future, one block at a time, building a strong foundation for all together. I want to share a quote by Margaret Mead, anthropologist. Never doubt that a small group of the thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. I want to share with you from my heart. I say change begins with a gentle breeze, and as personal barriers are removed one by one, allowing growth from the inside to take hold, then out, your inner voice, your soul, your heart is finally known, carving a path to love that leads no stone unturned, just a gale force wind that can move mountains. I am forever grateful to you all for your time today, giving us in Harvest Horizons to share our hearts in project. Please join us after the presentation or this weekend if you have time. We have a table right behind, basically. It's the red table with the Harvest Horizon banner. I ask you again to remove the enemy from your mind, as we all have better angels calling us. I ask you to rise up and to be part of something greater beyond ourselves. Rise up and help Harvest Horizons move mountains. We can all move mountains together, no matter how big or small. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask this group?
I don't have a question, but as the Crestone Community Garden, I say, where do we sign up?
Yay. We have a place right over there. You can sign up, Jenny. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is your model, I'm curious, are you planning to give food to the community, sell food to the community? What's the future model once it's like things are in place?
Yeah, so there's different ways to participate with our project. The food security that we have in place will be for the community in the case of a major disruption. Otherwise, what we wanted to do is with the value-added products to also be able to generate our own income, our own program revenue. So we're going to be selling the value-added products on a wholesale basis. Our membership, it, it, just by joining and being a member, that creates an access to the food. But we want to make sure that nobody's left in the cracks too. So we want to work with existing organizations, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, the Food Bank, Local Foods Coalition. We want to. That's going to really show itself, Jay, over time. But our goal and our mission is to not have anybody excluded. We know there's elders in the community that can't maybe take care of themselves fully. There's people in the community that may, for one reason or another, not be able to participate in an active way. So the way that we've organized it is people can participate by donation, or they can participate by time and energy towards it. And I wanted to just say that a couple things. One is that Buddy made the point that we have a group here that can see a project through, and we're going to do that. But we really don't want to do it for the community. We want to do it with the community. And that's really something that's important to us because we each have our time that we have to be a part of this project and then set it up to, continue in past our time involvement. And so there's some things to work out, but our goal is to not have anybody excluded.
And what's your ask today of people?
Well, we're looking for financial donations. We've again, as I said, had some great early donations that have helped us get to this point, supplement things. At this stage, we're raising money to have funds to continue to raise money, more funds, as nonprofits are, all of us are kind of in this position in this changing world to see how we can sustain ourselves. And I will say with that there are different models that are coming, and I encourage everyone here to dial into Earth Regeneration Alliance, which is here. And they are looking at different models of funding in bioregions that can take away competition within nonprofits. And so we're really open to completely new models here. And we just will find our niche, we'll do what we need to do and know how to do, and then be a part of the overall fabric, as Melody said. But we're looking for land, and to be very clear, the proper place to do this with the water right initially, and to buy. Thank you for asking.
How much land are you looking for?
Well, we want to have production. I mean, 40 acres goes a long way, 30, 40 acres. I've been involved, as Brian said, too, in projects. An acre's a lot of land. It's a lot of land to raise food on. So I think, Jillian, at this point, not a lot of land. We want to do very tight resource management. We'll do drip systems with the water. We're going to manage the water, care for it in gratitude, and utilize it the best way we can. We'll be building soil at the same time as we figure out what exactly we do want to raise on our own with our own production to be a source for our commercial kitchen and our other products. 35, 40 acres.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for Brian about composting. You know how important it is to build soil, and my husband and I are learning that very quickly, how that's important. And I'm wondering, before you actually own the land, if there could be some sort of big push for the community to take their food waste and do composting at a big scale to prepare for when you finally get the land. You'd have more compost, or, you know, could private landowners do composting that contribute to a bigger project?
Thank you for the question. I think that question brings up some larger issues around management of compost, and living in a wilderness interface, we have a lot of responsibility to the animals and trying to keep them out of it. It's really hard to compost up here in the trees at any scale and with that issue. So the compost site itself is a pretty important spot, and as anybody that's composting for themselves personally knows, it takes a lot of carbon to keep the animals from becoming an issue with your compost production. Carbon and nitrogen in the proper ratio is what makes compost. If we're not using the proper ratio of carbon, we're just producing vegetable manure, and that's where a lot of the issues come in with attracting wildlife. So I think that that's a great idea that you're speaking to, and it brings up the larger idea of where do we do this and how do we do it and manage it in the best way for the community and the urban wilderness interface.
Have a few more minutes for questions if anybody has questions or comments for these folks.
I just want to speak to that compost question. There was a community compost attempt, and it was right on the road coming into town, and it was a great idea that kind of just was a disaster. So I think we need to learn from that kind of project that it actually needs to be managed really well. And that's the challenge. It needs to be in the right spot, and then it needs to be intensely managed. It's not something where everybody can just go dump their old whatever you have, just go take it to there and just dump it in. That's what happened at this site, and it just didn't work. And so we want to learn from that and say, okay, how do we actually make something that works? And that's kind of what this project is about, is learning from those past attempts. Because, I mean, everybody's done everything here. We really have. It's not like this is, we're totally clueless as a community. We are actually clued in, but it's challenging to make these systems work. So that's what Harvest Horizons really represents, is trying to learn from all of our past trials and really create a system that works. We asked, go ahead. I'm sorry. You have a question?
I'm on another subject, though. I've got a small garden, but I've had extra produce. So at this time, I'm harvesting everything. I'm drying, I'm canning. I luckily have a friend that's helping, but I would love to be able to see a place that people on a small garden scale can go and contribute their food together, to can together. Maybe one of the things that I'd love to see is a freeze-dry machine, because then you're not looking at needing a whole lot of energy, once you got your food dried. Okay. So, just hoping that small farmers, garden people, that they can get together and have a place for their food and get together with other people to put it up and that sort of thing, instead of small scale and alone.
So I appreciate your ideas there, and I don't know where Jenny just went, but she's in charge of this community building, community center project. And what you're referring to is exactly what should happen in that project. This is the challenge of the community center. Everybody has different ideas about what everybody wants, and she has some good visions of, okay, we need a large building with a central room, that a lot of things can get done. And that would be one of those kind of things that could get done, where you could have a canning community show up, or some kind of classes where everybody comes together and does canning together, or similar type projects. You know, you have a harvest. What do you do with your harvest, with your extra produce? This is always a challenge. Yeah, ask anybody who grows.
Second that. I'm a small garden practitioner, I guess, with a greenhouse, and many times of the year we have surplus produce. We hand it out to friends and the food bank and so forth. But if you guys could help coordinate that, it would be wonderful. My question, though, is about biochar. And I'm sure many of you have heard of it and its beneficial effects for soil. It absorbs carbon and nutrients and moisture. So we do have a lot of people clearing land, mitigating for fire protection. It goes to the burn pit. Some of it's just burned on site. But it could be converted into biochar, which would be a wonderful amenity, not just for your production, but for us as sort of your distributed producers. Have you thought of that?
Yeah, that's a great call out. There's been some gasification projects in the community, and I'm not currently up with where that's at, but I have actually trialed some of that biochar that's been produced, and it is a wonderful soil amendment. And I like how you're talking about trying to keep slash from going to the burn pit through that process. That makes great sense.
Hey guys, sorry I got here a little bit late, but this has been super interesting. My question is, to what extent are you guys looking at using agri-tech and smart urban farming or smart farming technology to help really distill the processes and get the most out of the grow operations?
Could you explain the term agri-tech to me?
Agricultural technology. So like using AI, ML, using technology to assist in the growing process and making sure that you're getting the right nutrients, et cetera, et cetera. Is that something you guys have looked into at all?
Not so much. I thank you for bringing that up. I'm quite analog in my application, so I would encourage you to come and let's talk one-on-one.
So there's technology available, drone technology. There's technology available to really monitor soil conditions, moisture, areas of variability within a plot of soil. And so, yeah, I would say we want to definitely utilize that where it's appropriate. Everything that we're planning on growing is going to be in dirt, and it won't be hydroponic. It won't be. The verticality is also a possibility just to utilize space, and we'll figure that out with the design. But here we are with AI again, and how do we utilize that as a tool that's positive and helpful and beneficial and interactive?
I just want to add a couple of comments before we break away from one another, but I want to go real quick back to the community garden pieces. And it's very important that we do have our community gardens. That's all part of this. That's all part of us working together, besides what Harvest Horizons is doing. And it's also going to be part of what we're doing as we move forward with the educational pieces, because we'll have classes and be able to collaborate with the community to make us all resilient in that way. The other thing that I want to bring up real quick as we get ready to break away here is that we do have sign-up sheets at our tent set up over there. There's one for petition. Basically, you would sign to show your support. All of those signatures are used in order to help get us funding for future grants. And also, we have a sign-up sheet for volunteers in the future where you can sign up and leave your email and phone number and skill sets so that we can get a hold of you in the future. But thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you all so much.